good morning, afternoon, evening, or if you're really brave, good night. I'm Remington Miller.
And I'm Kiara Bradford.
Welcome back to
Friday Frights,
a podcast where we sit down every Friday in October and share two different stories about spooky, paranormal, or unexplained Arkansas legend or lore. We're happy you're here. And Kiara, think you have a story for me?
I have a little story. Okay, so we're going Little Rock today.
Okay.
In my story. We're going literally downtown Little Rock.
It's nice to see you outside of Northeast Arkansas.
I'm trying to branch out.
Away from the White River. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
I'm branching out. Look at me. So diverse. Okay, so today we're talking about, have you ever heard of the old Arsenal building?
So yes, but like I've heard the title of it. I would be like, yeah, that's in downtown Little Rock, but I don't know anything about it.
Well, I didn't know what it was until I started researching, and then I found out I knew what it was, which is the MacArthur Museum, the military museum.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about in MacArthur Park, the historic district of Little Rock.
I don't actually know much about this, so I'm excited.
Yes, this building has had many hats, let's say. So the Little Rock Arsenal Tower building is the last remaining structure still standing from the original U.S. military installation dating back to 1840.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's old.
Yeah. Old and one of a kind, really.
Yeah. Originally built to store ammunition, it has long white wooden porches and a 3-story octagonal. You know what I'm trying to say. Brick tower connecting the inside floors. The military installation was originally established to do battle with nearby Native Americans and would go on to contain officer barracks and more than 30 buildings to make up Little Rock's first military post. It would become important to the Confederacy, a stronghold in the Civil War, and later the birthplace of General Douglas MacArthur.
That you were not kidding when you said a lot of hats.
A lot of hats. It has even more hats. So, when the federal building gave the property to the city of Little Rock in 1892, most of the other buildings of the arsenal was removed. The tower building alone was left standing to this day. The tower building would become a meeting place for the Aesthetic Club in 1894, one of the oldest women's clubs in west of the Mississippi,
cool.
And would also serve as the Museum of Natural History and Antiquities from 1942 to 1997.
So it kind of switched to a more peaceful vibe.
Mm-hmm. No more war.
Yeah.
That was until the building reopened in 2001 as the MacArthur Museum of Arkansas Military History.
Okay, that's educational.
So that's what it is as of today.
And it's haunted?
It says that this structure is like a cat with 9 lives wearing multiple metaphorical hats, and one of them being haunted.
I'm sure it is probably some of the war that's haunting, but it'd be kind of cool if it was one of the little club antique clubs.
Club ladies. No, it's not that.
One could dream.
One could dream.
Hey, Lawrence Creek had a nice little ghost.
Yeah, had a nice little ghost. Yeah, it's not that. Apparitions are reported. There are playful spirits, actually.
Okay.
There are that throw objects, and also people have reported shadow people for many years. So we'll talk about some of the reasons why it's been haunted. So this source, hauntinghouses.com, gave reasons, which are, accidents with ammunition and cannonballs from war, with fatalities. There were dual deaths. A duel between 2 soldiers took place in the basement under the stair area in the early years. Civil War battle, while the change of sides from Union to Confederate in 1861 had happened with a peaceful compromise. In 1863, there was a battle of the city of Little Rock. There was a fierce fight resulting in lots of casualties. Soldiers lost their lives defending the installation and the city of Little Rock, and as did the Union soldiers as well. So there was battles. And then there's a little bit of a story about one Confederate soldier, or Union soldier. No, Confederate soldier. I'm confused because He was a spy.
Oh, okay. So reason why you would mix them up. He would probably be proud you were mixing them up.
I guess. 3 months after the Union forces had taken Little Rock, 17-year-old David Owen Dodd was caught in a Union soldier checkpoint with sensitive military information about Union forces with written Morse codes. Though offered a plea bargain if he revealed the names of those he gave the information to, David refused. In military court, he was given a 4-day trial, convicted of spying for the Confederacy, and received a death sentence by hanging. On January 8th, 1864, the gallows were...
is so young.
I know. That's why I'm like, poor, like... that's why it's
17 is young.
conflicting. The gallows were placed in east of the old Arsenal building, guarded by a large...
they had gallows on the ground.
Guarded by a large group of soldiers to stop any possible rescue efforts. 6,000 citizens came to watch.
That's crazy.
David was brought from the gallows and yeah, I don't think I have to talk about what happened to him after that. It's a little gruesome because apparently the rope wasn't high enough at first and the fall didn't actually kill him.
God, that's awful.
Yeah. And so
that kind of like tragedy probably does cling to a place like that.
yeah, you would think. There is a memorial dedicated to him at the museum, and a stained glass window was made in his honor. So we have that. Some of the things that people do hear are disembodied voices, talking, music heard throughout the building. In 1996, an employee was sitting in her office in the basement when she heard
already not
office in the basement
where the guys were dueling. Yeah, heck no.
Yeah.
Imagine
I wonder who's there.
Yeah, for real. Like, worst employees down there, but I don't. That's awful.
Yeah, she heard sounds of music and laughter and talking coming from the room above her, which was the largest room on the east side of the ground floor. She went up to see, saw, and heard nothing, so she went back to work, and the same sounds just kept happening.
No lie. If I see something paranormal at work, I'm considering that my time to go home for the day.
I think
I'm sorry that the paranormal universe excused me from the service today, but I
think
must
I'm
leave.
good. Also, there are solid, lifelike apparitions.
Solid?
That's what somebody says. The second floor of the tower was turned into a theater. While closing up for the night, an employee saw the solid body of a man dressed in a dark uniform lying across chairs. She ran down to get another person to help what she thought was a transient to get them out of the building. When the second person tried to touch the body, which had turned around, it melted into the air.
Oh, no, that would freak me out. I don't know if it scares me more than the Keller's Chapel, like, shadow ghosts. But I would definitely need
to try to touch somebody and they
just melt away. Yeah.
On occasion, see-through apparitions have been observed walking down the staircase to the ground floor, just going about their business. There has been shadow people and unexplained shadows on the walls that have been noticed by some. 2 shadow people have been in the area of the grand staircase in the basement. People thinking
stay out of
the
duel.
Yeah. There's also a talk about a playful entity, which people have been thought to be David.
I don't know if I'd be playful after all that.
I don't think so, but a playful entity, perhaps that of David, likes to throw things at people, just missing them during the late afternoon or stormy winter days. The unexpected person walking down the right-hand staircase from the 3rd floor to the 2nd. If this person stops immediately and looks over their shoulder, he or she will see a shadow of the object flying by. If an unseen presence at the top of the stairs is throwing something, it chuckles, enjoying the reactions.
Not it laughing at you.
Yeah, if it laughs at you if you turn around and try to look at it.
I guess if I had to be haunted, I guess that would be okay. As long as the aim stays bad.
And then I have like one more story for us. This is a recent occurrence because it's 2005.
Okay.
So on April of 2005, the Spirit Seekers Paranormal Investigation Research and Intervention Team.
Oh,
what
say it again for me.
Oh my God, it spells spirit. I just realized that. The Spirit Seekers paranormal investigation research and intervention team
Okay.
made a visit to the MacArthur Museum and had some interesting experiences. Pictures were taken of the spirits. Some also caught orbs.
Okay.
But they also caught 3 spirit entities. Investigators and a psychic met a friendly presence named Catherine, who was the one who would play the piano, making piano music heard earlier. And another investigator met a male presence near the Jeep display in the museum.
I'm headcanoning that Catherine was from the like aesthetic club.
I'll
Get you one in there.
I saw a lot of reports about like people, like, you know how like some places have like the spirit, like they'd be like, oh, the man with the hat, or like the playful David. There was a lot of talk about like the woman in white, and so it's been like perceived that Catherine's the woman in white, but it's like 2 different accounts, where some of the accounts say there's a spirit named Catherine, and some that say a spirit that's just a woman in white, and then a lot of that say it's both.
Okay.
They're the same person.
I don't know, but I'm rooting for Catherine to win from the aesthetic club. I'm rooting for something kind of like wholesome.
Yeah. So that's the
maybe it isn't wholesome if they stick around. I was just thinking.
Yeah, it's not wholesome. Some bad stuff happened in the ladies' club. I guess you would think, if that were to be the case. But that's the MacArthur Museum, which is also the old Arsenal Tower building.
It's
got a lot of history.
Yeah. So, are you going to visit this October?
I've been to the MacArthur Museum.
Are you going to visit again looking for ghosts, though?
Oh, Remy, we have so many things on the schedule. What's yours? Maybe we'll fill that one a little bit more. We can only fit so much.
Well, today I'm also taking somewhere you've definitely seen.
Oh, what's that?
The Arkansas State Capitol building.
Oh my God, I'm so surprised. Like, we didn't talk about this before. Anyway, continue. I'm so excited.
You don't know what I'm about to say.
I'm so excited.
That's right. But now, listen, I've lived in Little Rock all of my life. Okay. And some of this information, as I was reading, felt so new to me. So maybe you've already heard all of this and it's obvious, and I just never paid attention on like the 4 million school field trips I went on.
You know, the Capitol building fascinates me, so I'm ready to learn whatever you got for me.
Yeah. Did you know how it came to be built?
No. I do know it's a replica of the state, or the federal, nation Capitol.
So what we think of as the Capitol building now is actually the second Capitol building.
Okay.
The Capitol replaced the State House, which today we know is the old State House Museum. So we're seeing lots of like little switching over here. Let me take you to like the State House and like before the Capitol was built. So like by 1899, conditions at the State House were arguably pretty bad. Okay. An Encyclopedia of Arkansas said that there had been some heavy rain and some pieces of the ceiling fell into the Senate chamber. So like the actual building was not withstanding and weathering well. So they, after like being kind of tired and fed up of like these bad working conditions, because it's like where legislators were meeting and trying to like improve the state.
Yeah, and our conditions aren't improved themselves. Like, what kind of image does this serve?
So this bill was introduced calling for the construction of a new seat of government, and it garnered support from the governor at the time, Daniel Webster Jones. Okay. So get this. He suggests that the new Capitol be built on the site of the Arkansas State Penitentiary on 5th Street, describing the property as being too valuable to be used as a prison.
Wait. Can we just take a pause?
I'm telling you, there's lots of little switching around here.
Take a little pause. What?
No, when I read that, I was like, surely I misread.
So the Capitol, it was proposed that they build a new Capitol, because then the old Capitol, they're like, can't.
It's falling apart.
So they were like, let's take the new Capitol and build it on a prison.
Well, specific. So it went essentially like being like, oh, hey, the seat of government is not meeting our needs. We need a new one. Let's have a bill so we can fund building a new one. The governor said, I support you. Governor Jones said, also, I have the perfect place.
A prison.
Hear me out. The Arkansas State Penitentiary.
A prison.
Yeah. So, before the grounds had lawmakers, it held prisoners, lawbreakers, if you will.
So it wasn't the same building.
No. It's the grounds.
All right.
So let me detour a bit, because before we get to like what's there now, we need to understand what was there before. So I just want to give you like a description and some key information about the Arkansas State Penitentiary. It was opened like around June 1841, and it originally contained 96 cells, 4 workshops, a corn crib to store and dry corn, and a blacksmith shop, a smokehouse, and some other buildings, with a frame building for the prison agent and a log building for shoemakers outside of the grounds. So this is like
This had
big,
so much going on.
right, this was like a big, like, for him to suggest this, it would be like from the old state house to just like this very big piece of land with lots of moving parts. I was like, okay. But again, that was back like when it opened in 1841. In 1842, a brick wall was erected and enclosed the officers' quarters, workshop, and bare cells, which had the capacity to hold 300 inmates, including 91 dark cells for convict punishment. I did some quick looking around online, and from what I've read, dark cells are specific kinds of punishment cells used for solitary confinement. So typically like pitch black conditions, silent, to isolate or punish inmates.
So there was 300 regular beds and 91 of these special cells.
Yeah.
I wonder if this place is haunted.
One of the most notable things, at least like in my eyes, to kind of happen in the history of this penitentiary happened in August 1846. A riot broke out after a new warden was appointed, and inmates set fire to the penitentiary building and workshops, destroying like a good chunk of this property. And the ringleader, according to the Encyclopedia of Arkansas, was a man named Morgan, and he was shot and killed by a trustee, which was an inmate that was used as a guard. And apparently in Arkansas, that was like once a common practice in our prison system.
Yeah, let's just let them guard themselves. Nothing will go wrong.
I was very surprised to read that, but I trust like the Central Arkansas Library System and the Encyclopedia of Arkansas. But that was also, I was like, yeah, that seems like if you're going to brood like bad energy onto the grounds, having prisoners guard themselves and having to like handle that kind of chaos seemed like a bad way to go.
It's a choice.
Yeah. And around 4 months after that riot, the legislature approved a contract for rebuilding the penitentiary from salvaged materials using convict labor. So they hired a man named George Brody, who, with 35 inmates, started to work in May 1847 to rebuild the prison.
Build your own prison. I'm sure that went over with no argument.
By the end of November, they had constructed 84 cells, 3 dungeons. I use the quotes. I have no idea. Encyclopedia of Arkansas did not further elaborate. A kitchen, a storeroom, a hospital, and a chapel. But these areas too would end up being lost when 2 convicts set fire to the roof during an escape attempt in March 1850.
You know, their plan. You can't say their plans are not successful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have successfully caused a bunch of property damage both times. But it's okay, because in January 1851, the General Assembly approved a bill to rebuild the prison again, this time with zinc or slate roofs. So they're no more wooden roofs, so they're less flammable.
Oh, okay. So
they're learning, I guess, a little bit.
We are learning. That's the quote of this podcast. We are learning.
In 1853, men were contracted to build this first permanent wall around the state penitentiary. And in addition to convicted criminals, the penitentiary was then used to house escaped slaves for safekeeping until their owners could legally retrieve them.
I'm going to keep my opinions to myself.
There was a lot of... That seemed like extra bad.
You know, I liked the Capitol before today.
This is still the penitentiary.
Yeah, but it's on some grounds that's questionable. It's just
Well, by 1860, the state penitentiary included a main building with 168 cells, 2 large workshops, a hospital, a mess hall, and a smokehouse, all made of brick, as well as a cistern and granite wall. During the Civil War, after federal forces occupied Little Rock on September 10, 1863, they took over the prison and began housing captured guerrillas, some of who were hung in addition to criminals.
Ooh, this ain't getting better.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the uplift. I'm waiting for little ghosties. I'm sorry.
Several buildings ended up even being struck by a tornado on October 2nd,
it's
1894.
Not getting better.
And it all had to be repaired by inmate labor, and that was repaired by January 1st, 1895. So quite a handful of pretty horrific things were happening over the course of this penitentiary's history.
At one point, they should have just said,
something's bad is here.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
We should probably cut our losses here.
So I want you to remember like all of these like kind of horrific, bloodied history as we return back to 1899.
All right.
The State House is in bad condition, and legislators want a better place to work.
And they said...
And the governor has just suggested this place.
Keep rebuilding on this spot that seems cursed.
So, after a month of deliberation, the House adopted the resolution and the governor signed it into law on February 13th, 1899. The Capitol would be built, as Governor Jones suggested, on the penitentiary site. The act made 200 state convicts available to work on the Capitol project as a means of saving money.
They really were
So they did not learn.
They did not learn. Oh my God.
And then I was reading on Arkansas.com. During the excavation of the foundation around 1899, long-forgotten rotten wood coffins were unearthed, revealing the remains of the state's past criminals. These days in the basement, disembodied voices have been heard.
Wait, they just dug up these graves and then what?
I didn't say. Just that they were found when they were getting rid of the penitentiary to build the Capitol.
Yeah.
They found these graves.
Good.
Visitors and state employees have reported seeing a woman dressed in period clothing floating down the marble staircases.
Good. Wow.
That's creepy, right?
Yeah, but I'm thinking like inmate ghosts, but sure.
And another thing happened after the Capitol was built. So Arkansas.com mentioned the 1932 tragedy of Representative Ira Gurley. He was crushed to death by the Capitol's south elevator, and it has been tied, like the incident has been had that same elevator acting of its own accord. It's like people have kind of like thought that elevator was kind of haunted or glitched or something was wrong with it.
This is a representative?
Yeah. He passed, and the accident happened around the time he was preparing to run for Arkansas Secretary of State.
Wow.
Yeah. With a history like that, I'm not surprised that there are people who do report hearing and seeing a bunch of paranormal things.
That's actually insane. So they dug up graves to build this site, and you said they looked inside them to see what it was. I wonder what you're digging up. If it looks like a grave, if it looks like a coffin,
yeah,
I wonder what it is.
I was just more so impressed this whole time. I mean, I guess I don't really know what it looked like in 1899 in Little Rock.
Yeah.
But I will say I don't know that
there had to have been more land.
There had to be somewhere different that there could have been.
There had to have been more land. And I mean, I know we all know what downtown Little Rock looks like now, I'm sure. But there had to have been more land at that point, just around for them to...
Maybe like a fresh start.
Yeah.
Maybe like a...
Literally unscathed ground, probably.
So yeah, now you can think about like every time you visit the Capitol, it used to be a state penitentiary, and maybe there are some ghosts.
I don't want to think about that the next time I go visit the Capitol around Christmas time and look at the Christmas tree.
Well, you can remember that before there were Christmas trees, there was prisons that were burnt and rebuilt I was very surprised by how many times like this prison had to be rebuilt.
It was a sign and no one listened.
Right. Do you kind of believe in like the destruction of the self, where it's like I was like obviously this prison was trying to be like, we're cursed. Let us go.
It got burned down, and then the people running the place was just like, all right, prisoners,
rebuild.
Go. There's the wood. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, and again, it just was one of those things where I was like, wow, I didn't know that there was anything on that land before the Capitol building was built. Like, I'm not good. Maybe I was naive. I just kind of thought, I was like, of course the Capitol was built.
I wouldn't have thought that. Like, I just think the Capitol, obviously, it was, the only thing I really know about it is that it's pretty, and it's like modeled after the federal Capitol. That's it.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you how many field trips I've been on to the state capitol growing up in Little Rock. Like, I feel like I went all the time. And I was like, there was something here before? And yeah, it's crazy now to think about how pretty, like, that landscaping is. All those, like, nice trees. Like, there's various monuments. And
the dark history.
Yeah, there's, like, giant gold doors. And I did think it was kind of interesting talking about how like previously that penitentiary was always burnt down, and they said we're gonna build this
We
out
got
of
some gold doors for you.
gold doors and also not wood.
Yeah.
It's limestone now.
Wow. They learned.
But yeah,
It took a little while, but they learned.
Yeah, he said, while I'm suggesting this, if we are listening, don't make it wood. But yeah, so that's a little bit of like spooky history about like these like buildings that have a
A lot of historic, like a lot of historic buildings that are still here today.
Maybe the real scary stories are just like the true history behind
yeah.
it.
Isn't that like a thing with like a lot of like spooky stories? Is that it's just the history that's like messed up, and then you're like, and now you hear voices.
Yeah, I would be like, of course you hear voices. I mean,
Yeah,
did you hear what I just heard?
Yeah. Well, anyway, we didn't go anywhere that different. We went from one side of downtown to like the edge of downtown, and we heard that the Capitol apparently used to be a prison a few times, and the MacArthur Museum for Military History was also just a part of like 30 buildings that was also used for military back in the 1840s.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. Well, we have one more episode to go, and that is our Halloween episode. So please stay tuned for that. It's very exciting.
Yes, thanks so much for tuning in.
And we'll see you next time.